This is America in Space, a weekly news and information program on current events dealing with the space industry.
Welcome, and thanks for joining me today. I'm Dawn Meyer, Space Coast News Editor. As many of you know, I have been a huge fan of the Ingenuity Mars helicopter. And now I am sad to report that Ingenuity will fly no more. I, along with NASA team, are so proud of the 3 years that Ingenuity did fly and all of the firsts it accomplished on its 72 flights on Mars. It completed its final flight on January the 18th, 2024, and sent back an image showing the shadow of damage to the helicopter's rotor blades. Here is NASA Administrator Bill Neslin to sum up Ingenuity's mission.
It is bittersweet that I must announce that Ingenuity, the little helicopter that could, and it kept saying, I think I can, I think I can. Well, it has now taken its last flight on Mars. As it was coming down for landing, at least one of its carbon fiber rotor blades was damaged. We're investigating the possibility that the blade struck the ground. That little helicopter could fly in a 1% atmosphere, not 100% atmosphere like we have on Earth. It cut through a 1% atmosphere and was able to fly. And what Ingenuity accomplished far exceeds what we thought possible. Almost 3 years ago, the helicopter made its first flight on the planet Mars.
Altimeter data confirms that Ingenuity has performed its first flight.
And living up to its name, Ingenuity made history as the first aircraft to make a powered, controlled flight on another planet. But then it flew farther and higher than we ever thought possible. And what started as a technology demonstration with plans for only up to 5 flights has now completed a remarkable 72 flights on Mars. And the innovation doesn't stop here. It acted as a scout for the Perseverance rover. It would go and check out sites. Ingenuity demonstrated how flight can enhance operational missions. And it's helping us in the search for life on Mars. And like the Wright brothers, what they did back here on Earth at the early part of the last century, Ingenuity has paved the way for future flight in our solar system. And it's leading the way for smarter, safer human missions to Mars and beyond. I think President Biden said it best after Ingenuity's first flight. He said, NASA proved once again that with relentless determination and the power of America's best minds, anything is possible. That's what we try to do at NASA, make the impossible possible. And so, thank you, Ingenuity.
Lori Glaze, the Director of the Planetary Science Division at NASA headquarters, congratulates Ingenuity and the team on the accomplishments of Ingenuity and more.
While we knew this day was inevitable, it doesn't make it any easier to share that today the Ingenuity Mars helicopter's flight operations on Mars have ended. Ingenuity was truly an all of NASA mission. It cut across science, technology, human spaceflight, and aeronautics. It was designed as a technology demonstration, expected to fly no more than 5 times over 30 days, but it's ending its mission having completed 72 flights in just under 3 years. It's almost an understatement to say that it has surpassed expectations. Ingenuity is a 4-pound rotorcraft. It had a sole objective to conduct test flights in the thin atmosphere of Mars and collect important engineering data. But it has gone way beyond test flights and has laid a very solid groundwork for future aerial exploration on Mars and beyond. In 2020, when we launched Ingenuity with Perseverance, we were hopeful that Ingenuity would open new possibilities and spark questions for the future about what we could accomplish with an aerial explorer. We asked ourselves whether a helicopter could scout ahead for rovers and help plot the most efficient course for the best science. We asked ourselves whether a helicopter could support future human missions with aerial capabilities. And during its 3 years of operations on Mars, I am just really thrilled to say that Ingenuity absolutely shattered our paradigm of exploration, introducing this new dimension of aerial mobility. I couldn't have summed up the importance of Ingenuity and the lessons it's taught us any better than Vanessa Rupani. Remember, she was the student who named the helicopter in 2020. And in her words, in Vanessa's words, the ingenuity and brilliance of people working hard to overcome the challenges of interplanetary travel are what allow us all to experience the wonders of space exploration.
Teddy Xanatos, the Ingenuity Project Manager at JPL, explains more about what happened to the helicopter and why they believe it can no longer fly.
In terms of what happened on Flight 72, there's a set of information that we know for certain. We've downlinked a set of images, and the team has looked at those images and confirmed the shadow of one of our rotor blades suggests that our rotor blade is damaged, and that means that we're not going to be able to fly anymore. The good news is that we're still in communications with Ingenuity, and she's tougher, again, than any of us could have ever imagined. Going through a blade strike for a helicopter is typically the end, and Ingenuity was able to do that and still survive afterwards to phone home. We've been in communications with Ingenuity since the weekend, collecting additional data, and we're still in the process of getting additional imagery. We're interested in understanding how the other blades fared, how the rest of the subsystems are doing, but we couldn't be prouder of our little spacecraft. Our engineering judgment is what leads us to that conclusion based off of a couple of facts. Ingenuity's rotor system is impeccably well balanced, down to the fraction of a gram. And when you have not just Ingenuity's rotor system, but any helicopter system, it must be perfectly balanced. Otherwise, any rotor system will shake itself apart. If anything compromises the delicate balance of a rotor system like that, and then you start trying to spin it at 2,500 RPMs, you're not going to be able to sustain that for any reasonable period of time. That's one reason why. The second reason why is just the aerodynamics and the physics of it. Most of your lift comes from the last 25 to 35% of your rotor system. It's the fastest moving part of your blade as it rotates in a circle. Because we think we've lost about 25% of one of the blades, that means we've just lost a massive chunk of our thrust capacity. So even if the blades were somehow perfectly well balanced in their damaged state, we've now also just taken a huge chunk away of our thrust capacity, not to mention the controllability of being able to handle small roll and pitch maneuvers in air with now your control surface being compromised. So all of that leads us to believe that we will not be able to fly anymore.
So even though it is bittersweet that Ingenuity has come to the end of its mission, there is so much to celebrate as its contribution to future helicopter flights will enable huge improvements and even allow a helicopter to be the primary exploration vehicle on the mission to Titan. So Ingenuity will continue to give as the stepping stone to the future.
And we're excited for what the future will hold in the skies of Mars.
Thank you for joining me. Listen each Tuesday for This Week in Space with John Gomez. And join me every Friday for America in Space. From the Florida Space Coast, I'm Dawn Meyer, Space Coast News Editor for About Space Today.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to share our program with your family and friends and follow us on Facebook. Join us each week for news and information on America in Space.